Road Show, episode number 596. My name is John Morgan, and cold coffee is with me as well.
Yes.
The long-missing, long-awaited.
Oh, my God.
I feel like it's been too damn long since we all got a chance to get together. Hot tea is here. Oscar Willis from the Mac Life. That posh boy over there. What's going on?
Already. Let me just enjoy a sip of this frosty beverage.
Oh, how about a nice frosty beverage on, what is it,
11:30 a.m. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Didn't have to release that information at all. Really could have just left that. I mean, we didn't say what time zone that is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're on Shanghai time, all right.
boy.
Shanghai time.
That's right. And who knows? Maybe I will get Shanghai tonight.
Let's
Hello.
go. It's been a long. First of all, it's been a long time since we really just had to sit down and record and be a part of the road show. But I mean, even beyond that, for all of us that live here together in Las Vegas and have been colleagues and friends and whatever for a long time, it's just been a long time since we've all been able to just get together and have a frosty beverage and hang out a little bit.
It's very nice. It's very nice. It's a nice little kickback. It has been ages, so I just feel like it's sometimes. Over the last couple of years, maybe this schedule has become so relentless. Obviously, John, you're now doing great work with CFFC and things. So I think sometimes it's the idea of doing all the work, then stopping to talk about all the work can actually be a little bit like, I'd rather do anything else. And I often think back to when I started, John, and I remember, perhaps you were a little bit like, this is nothing special, and I thought everything was special, and now I see these young guys coming up to me being like, what's your favourite fight on the card? And I say, I don't know who's fighting. It's an interesting grind, but hey,
you know what though?
we're still here.
Man? It's kind of funny. Obviously, I had no intention of talking about this whatsoever, but this, I don't know, theory or thought process has been kind of with me for a while now, is that I wonder if, honestly, there is some real health to just the media changing over time. You know what I mean? Like there's it's one thing like okay, obviously I did it for 2 decades or whatever. I mean, you're still in the grind, making, and the relationships that you've built. Like I always said, look, the fact that I can get anybody on the phone, the fact that I can do it, like that takes a long time to develop. But it is just kind of natural. Like when you hear about the enthusiasm for the sport or the passion for the sport or whatever, like that just has to wane with time, right? Like I wonder if there's something healthy to media staffs and media people just turning over time to get fresh blood in.
Well, I actually hear what you're saying, and now you can then expand that and be like, well, maybe some of the UFC people in front of the camera needs to change as well, maybe boost their enthusiasm. But I think it is a natural thing. I always applauded yourself and Ariel Helwani for still keeping the passion, or at least putting on the passion for as long as you guys did. I think it's really hard, and
the original MMA bromance right there, those two.
Yeah.
The love between those two just, fueled.
Can't separate.
But then I also think as well, you guys came up in such an interesting era of the media where the sport was still growing, the enthusiasm around the sport was still growing. So I actually feel like John, Brett, Mark Raimondi, Chuck Mindenhall, Luke Thomas, those guys probably still have more name cachet than the 4 guys like myself, Bon, and Jose do these days. I think you guys really were in the pinnacle of the growth of this. I think you guys contributed massively to the growth of this. But I think it's just a different kind of game now.
It is.
It's just and not in a positive or negative way. It's just different.
Just different.
It's just
it's a different era.
I think the media matters far less than it did because of maybe the media day structure now and press conference vibe.
Well, I think a lot of that too, but I also too, you got to think when it first started, nobody was trying to be the center of attention, and now the whole media thing has changed now where more people, and it's funny, I was on a call earlier listening to research analytics from some of the USA Today stuff. And
that sounds fun.
I know, right? But part of what they were talking about is how, a large portion of people where they're acquiring their news are going to content creators.
Yes.
And that's why I think is what's changed a lot even in this space, and we've seen it happen, is where the arrival of content creators has replaced a lot of like the typical people that were doing the media grind, and none of the original ones were trying to be this person.
Right.
Was trying to be the person. Some people eventually just sort of gravitated into that role. But what's interesting now, and you talk a little bit, John, about how the turnover of the media guys, a lot of people now, are looking and they see that and they think that's what it is to do this thing. So when they're coming into the sport and starting to cover it, they expect it to be like that. And when they don't see it that way and they're just like, they're a little thrown off, but they're also like trying to find their role. So I think it's good that they see some of us old timers that they get to still see. I don't ever want to say what it's supposed to be, but they still see that, you know, we need more of the traditional. I'm going to cite sources. I'm going to try to make sure I double check this instead of just put it out there and then people take it for face value.
I'm going to reach out to people when I write reports about them and maybe get comments on tweets
instead of just get 100,000 likes and then people are like, oh, it must be true because my favorite guy says this.
When I started, I would look up to John, Ariel, and those guys. You naturally try and emulate them, maybe put your own spin on something, but you try and emulate them. And now I think, as you said, the core has changed somewhat, the vibe has changed somewhat. So now newer guys coming in look at content creators and think that's what you're meant to do and things like that. So that's completely changed. I also think as well, just in the last 10 years, we'll say, certainly since COVID, it's now a social media game rather than it's a long form game.
Definitely.
And I think you're then basically kind of a slave to the algorithm.
Agreed.
So you kind of basically have to maybe be a bit more inflammatory or wacky to get any results with your content. And I think that in turn kind of destroys the long form storytelling that perhaps we would rather enjoy.
And I think a lot of that too is the platforms. I think that's not so much, it's an adjustment that the creators and us are trying to fix or fit into a certain algorithm. And a lot of it's too, it's, you know, there's still numbers and say out there that a lot of people enjoy longer form on YouTube and whatnot, but when you go to a Facebook, when you go to Twitter, when you got these things where it's about swiping, the fact that swiping now is a thing that as soon as whatever's done, I can easily swipe my thumb one direction and then there's new content.
But it's also
instead of being locked in and say, oh, sorry, now I got to turn this video off. I got to load something. We've made it so easy for people and their attention spans to flip to something else. So if you don't grab somebody, if you don't do whatever, maybe some, you know, because for a lot of the platforms, Facebook, all of them, they want engagement. They want people doing whatever. You could have the greatest interview, and it could be a legit 30-minute interview that is totally compelling. But if somebody just swipes off of it, and, you know, just because it's so easy to do that, the algorithm's like, oh, I'm maybe not going to pay that much attention. They just pick care of the fact that somebody swiped, and then they reward whatever video gets served up after that.
But then also, it's completely on the platform itself, right? For example, YouTube is trying to push YouTube Shorts. So 6 months ago, if I went onto YouTube on my phone, I'd be presented 6 long-form videos and maybe a short at the bottom. Now I'm presented 1 long-form video, and then it's all shorts. And so that, there's powerless to stop that, right? There's nothing we can do about that.
Nothing at all we can do about that.
And so, but because I'm conditioned, how do I spend my time when I've got nothing to do? I'll go on YouTube. I'm conditioned to go on the app. So actually, it's much easier to just train me to swipe than it is for me to be like, I don't like this format. I need to find something else. And then, of course, shorts make less money. We all make less money, except for them. And it just becomes this. I've always said, John, and I said this to you 5 years ago, the sport has never been bigger in terms of money, but the cherry of which we can take a bite has never been smaller.
So wild, right?
It's you see these guys making these billion-dollar deals, and you think, "Fuck, I can't get a Zaply sponsor for $1,000." You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ.
I mean, but it's interesting because I mean, you touch on a couple good points. I mean, because it is the platform that's dictating it, and then what we do, trying to chase those views, is we end up changing what we do to try to
follow
do
the
it.
course.
Because if you don't, then people are like, oh, you're a dinosaur, you're stuck in your ways, you're not trying to adapt. And then you try to adapt and you're just like,
oh, and by the way, if you're locked into your strategy, good luck if they just decide to change. For example, this is we're on a mad tangent here. Mr. Beast has been YouTube's biggest creator forever. 100 million views on every video. And then suddenly YouTube decided we're actually going to change the algorithm to push first-time publishers and brand new creators, and we're going to limit the algorithm on established creators.
So he's buried.
So he loses half his revenue overnight. Do you know what I mean? It's like literally...
That's crazy.
And that's... They just touch a button because they have a meeting and decide this is the way to go. So you can even if you invest so heavily in trying to follow their strategy, they can fuck you at any moment. I think the only thing you can do is try and keep a level, and we're in a different space where we're covering something rather than trying to create
original content,
but we're also at the
mercy
of also the sport as well, you know?
And I can see why they would do something like that because, you know, again, we were talking about just in the platform a platform like that that strictly is all about engagement. It's whether the views. So if you strictly are only looking at who's getting views, and you want to promote their stuff, it's always going to be Mr. Beast. It's always going to be a Mr. Beast until they change the platform to allow the other people to get possibility to those algorithms. But to that person's detriment, the algorithm can change. We're at a mercy of something that they're still figuring out. I mean, I get on calls with them monthly, and I feel like they're still testing the waters. They're still figuring it out. And we're just off to the side, like, how do we ride this ship so that we all get a little something? But going way back to when we started this about the changing things, there is something cool about seeing the new media faces come in there. There is something cool about seeing people that are young and interested into the sport, because you feel like it can't just be all of us old timers that are going to be carrying this forever. You know, I mean, we'll still be doing it forever.
Of course.
But the fact that we got kids coming straight out of college that looked at this as this is where I want to go with my journalism degree, where I want to go with this other stuff.
Which,
so I love
it's
the
never
fact
been easier to do. We have like 3 college kids in the Apex media room.
Kudos to
awesome.
the UFC for allowing that, and kudos to the door openers, the people that started that and proved that it can be done. I mean, it's like, I guess it goes back to where, you know, you can have interns work for your company, and if they're good enough and they've proven themselves, you let them stay around. You offer them a full-time job. They finally opened up the doors and said, some of these students, you're doing the work, prove it, and show me that you can be there. And they've done that, and I love the fact that they're allowing them to do it. Now, granted, it certainly helps them because there's a lot of events that aren't a lot of people there, so they'd rather have somebody there that's trying to learn the ropes as opposed to somebody that's like, well, I normally just do this, but I only want to go to the big pay-per-view event.
John, let me ask
Everybody wants to go to the big pay-per-view event.
So let me ask both of you, actually, out of an interesting question. The way the media day is set up now is obviously an individual press conference with the fighter, and we all take turns asking a mass of questions. Do you feel like the development of a younger reporter would be better aided in having one-on-ones in the old style, or is there a risk that then they all try to play the character and try and get the attention? Do you think maybe actually the way we do it now is limiting these guys' success? Because let's be frank, by the time me, Jose, and Bon are done, there's not a lot of stuff for these guys to ask. And I hear these guys trying. Yeah. You know, they bring up, in college in 1989, you did this. So do you think that actually their growth and their ability to manage a conversation, which is what this is, has stunted by the format that they do now?
That's a great question. I hadn't really considered it. But yeah, it has to have. Right. You know what I mean? Because, and I get, obviously we've lived through all aspects of this, and part of it was COVID, and part of it whatever. But we also understood like those media days when there were 100 reporters around, and they're all trying to get their own interviews. Logistically, it was difficult for the athletes. It was frustrating to have to answer the same question to 100 different people. So like we understand
and
the logic.
You had guys who insisted on one-on-ones when it wasn't fair.
When it wasn't supposed to be
much more competitive.
That's
much
a great
more aggressive.
point too, right? Like if it would have just stuck as like everybody's having a scrum and you can float in and out of the scrum as you want, it probably would have been able to stay that way.
Yeah, because people lost the opportunity to even talk to people when that happened.
But you're absolutely right about it. You are 100% right about that because you got good at that, right? And look, it was kind of cool. Like if you went to the media day and there were 16 people up there, well, guess what? Most people are around like 4 fighters, and then you got a bunch of fighters that don't have a lot of people around them, where you could essentially go get a one-on-one even if you weren't supposed to, and as you said, you learn that conversational style. You learn how to get more reps at it. So I hadn't really thought about that, but that is a great point.
And I also think as well, another downside to the format they do now, apart from the fact that man-to-man I can't react to a conversation as easily because it's a Q&A format rather than the conversation. I also think there's something in. It's a little weird when there's a room of people watching you fucking ask a question. And, if it doesn't go well, the guy's response embarrasses you in front of everyone, that 10 cameras are filming. There's a lot more pressure on getting it right in front of a room of people than there is. If I do an interview with you one-on-one and I flub it, God knows I have. I remember making a very poorly timed race joke with Tyron Woodley. That didn't go down very well. But
what? I don't remember that.
Wow.
But what were you even thinking?
I think it was him when he's fighting Kamaru. I went, so when you see this black on black crime on Saturday, and then there was just this silence. He went, John, try that again. I went, I would really like the opportunity. But you get away with those errors because no one's watching, right? If I did that at a press conference, like this Ian Gary thing we were talking about earlier, if I did that, suddenly it's clipped and viral everywhere. And I actually got really upset. I saw a guy at the same press conference with Islam and Ian, he asked a really generic, basic question, and that's fine, dude. It's the first time he's ever asked a question, first event he's ever been at. He's in an arena full of people with people watching
nerve-wracking.
It's fucking. You hear yourself as you speak. It's a weird experience.
People don't understand that. Little delay might screw you up a little bit.
So he stumble bums his way through. Dana, what's your favorite fight on the card? And then Dana's like, stupid question, and it's clipped up, and he's seen a million times before he's left the building. I just think there's a lot more pressure on this vibe than you would imagine as a spectator.
I had never really thought about that aspect of it. It is a really good point. And then let's go ahead and throw the flip side of it. For athletes who, let's be honest, early in their UFC career, yes, they're dealing with more media than that, but I mean, they're still developing, right? I wonder if maybe on the fight night cards, maybe it would make sense. Okay, pay-per-views, fine. We got too much media. We got fighters that have done 1 million interviews and they don't care to be there. They don't want to.
There's also more partners these days.
There's more partners
so by the time they even get to media day, they've done 30 the day before.
True.
But there is something that because I was going to say on the flip side of it, yes, it's getting more for the interviewers to get practice doing the one-on-one stuff. But on the flip side, if it's a weight cut week,
of course, for the athlete,
it's a very, very inconvenience if you say, all right, I have to give you a 3-hour block or a 6-hour block to take interviews, as opposed to, hey, we're going to give you 30 minutes. Then you got 30 minutes with ENG, and then you got 30 minutes of photos.
Yep. And to John's point,
that's
you're
an hour.
Not getting repeat questions.
Yeah,
right. You get 30 minutes, and okay, are they the questions you got asked 40 times yesterday?
They are.
But I remember seeing Cerrone in Chicago. I don't know why that was the one that came to me. I think it was because Helen Schmo was the one interviewing him. But I remember watching him die when their first question was the exact same as the question before.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And you just see, like you said, these guys are cutting weight. They don't want to be there anyway.
Yeah.
So for the athlete and for the UFC, structurally, this is much better. But I just think for the media, I think
good.
It's also as well much harder.
Well, and
make
to
a
that
name for yourself.
to that point, I mean, it is easy enough where the UFC, I mean, they've tried to corral during the fight week. And they say it even in the press guides. Don't try to go set up interviews in the hotel. Try to keep it like this. We don't want people bugging them. So. It's on that fighter. Reach out, find the manager, find somebody who's the manager, and then set up a proper interview. Do the work to set up the interview. You can still do that off to the side. Don't try to do it at the hotel. So, I mean, just because you're not getting the reps from the media day of doing the one-on-ones doesn't mean you can't do a one-on-one. Just take that extra step to get those interviews so you can get that. Cut your teeth elsewhere, but media day maybe is not the right format because fighters are trying to get through fight week. PR is just trying to check mark a box that says, all right, we had the media day, we got this done, and the content is there. It's not PR's job to give you all the opportunities to learn your trade.
It's true.
You got to take some initiative and do it outside of the areas. But
I also think media is just so much less important now. I think the UFC has become such this balloon and behemoth that.
Well, same with social media. And now you get fighters. Fighters are getting their things out there in the media.
Now they've got. They've got their own production teams that are following around. They're putting out A+ content.
And to your point, Kenny, when I started, I could probably get an interview with the top 5 guy. Now, let's say I wanted to interview Paddy Pimblett. The stars would really have to align for that because he's got his own YouTube channel that he can just give the news or story to. Yep. Why would he bother giving? And I don't begrudge that at all. That makes sense to me. I just think the game's changed, and then we end up with this weird world where TKO will still fly in influencers to ask a fighter who he wants to fight zombies with, and it's like I don't understand the benefit of that at all. These guys are, we talk about what's the benefit of a press conference or a one-on-one. That still, to me, is more likely to do something than, hoping for a viral clip of, I'd fight a zombie with O'Malley.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I will tell you, to listen on that phone call today earlier, talking about the research numbers of, people are going to these content creators, and now you have companies and organizations that just want to tag along with those and catch those new viewers, catch the whatever. So I think everybody out there is saying, work with influencers and get access to their people or whatever, So that's why I think we see people like the UFC embracing Nina, she's funny. I would never try to do some of the stuff she does. I couldn't pull off half the stuff, But I mean, but it's funny. It's engaging enough to where people are like, "Oh, this is a whole different thing." It's not trying to be news. I think there was a point where she was trying to act like it. Then I think she embraced.
I think she's really done a great job of figuring out exactly
what
her role is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not like hey, let's do this, and then also let me show up to the press conference. You know what I mean?
100%.
Right.
And I think at the beginning as well, when she first showed up, I remember she was wearing the Make Media, MMA Media Grade Again hat.
Right.
And I didn't love that.
Right.
And I think, John, at the time you said, well, do the same thing as us, play by the same rules and see how far you get, before you start criticizing us. And I think over time she has realized she's her own thing, and she's so good at her
She's
own
really
thing.
good at what she does.
And I think
people just gravitate to it. I think so companies are like, yes, we could just try to stick with traditional media, but why? They're not bringing anything extra to the thing. She's now creating content for them, so good on her. I mean, so it's just different. It's just different. It's a different space.
It's only going to get murkier as well. The line, the lines are only going to get more and more crossed, especially as I'm being given questions to ask, by Dana White.
That's true.
You plant.
Posh boy.
Posh boy plant.
But he called you geezer. Like, is that just for?
No, so in the UK,
so it has nothing to do with age. It's just
in
a
the UK,
dude.
geezer's just a man. Yeah.
Geezer.
Actually, I'm glad he called me geezer rather than
Posh boy.
Posh boy would have been real tough to take. That would have been a real eye-opener.
I gotta say, man, and I hope it's okay that I share this.
Sure.
Like, it hurt me a little bit for you to kind of get the call out from Eddie Hearn, because I can't tell you how many times I sat in a UFC media room and watched you watching Eddie Hearn content.
His biggest fan.
Bro,
his biggest fan.
Eddie
I would wager my fandom against any man on
I
this
agree.
list.
I'm like, did you see Eddie? I'm like, did you see Eddie Hearn said this? I'm like, you realize we're in a UFC media room right now. Like
and I met him like 3 times, and I just thought he was so good with the media. He's like, and then it's just weird.
Well, you probably broke his heart. He's like, why is that geezer talking about me? I thought we were close.
I just think, and John, I'm sure you faced this so many times in the position that you were in before where, and we've actually spoke about it now, I think about it, where people feel like you need to have an argument. Like, to push back on Dana, you need to have a screaming match.
Right.
Otherwise, it doesn't count.
Right.
I'm of the opinion that if Dana says something definitive, well, then first of all, if I say to Dana, are you promoting the fight? And he goes, yes, I am. I don't really feel like I can go, no, you're not. You know what I mean? You're lying. I don't feel like you can do that. But I tell you what I can do. I can wait. We can let the story play out. And in 6 months, if he is not, I can then ask him about the fact that he's not.
Remember when you said that you were and you weren't?
I feel like there's something in, and not that I necessarily think it's going to happen, but I think there's something in letting someone's words hang themselves, you know what I mean? I don't feel like
I agree.
You're obligated to be like, actually, I don't believe you.
To be honest, I always thought that was, especially in press conferences. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Especially
If one-on-one, I might be able to fucking go back.
Maybe have a little discussion, but in the role that we're typically in, like, I always felt that was the role, is that my job is to bring the topics up and to get the on-record comment. At that point, it's now on record. It's into the public domain.
Exactly.
And everybody else can debate whether it's right or wrong, with the truthfulness of it.
And it will be proven to be true or not. And then I think as well, and not necessarily that this applies to this, because obviously people can lie to you and stuff, but also observers don't know what you know. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes there are questions you don't ask, or you choose to ask a certain way, because I fucking know what's going on behind the scenes, and I know if I ask it in this way, that's going to be a declaration. It's just sometimes just like let the process play out. And I feel like Eddie having a go at me for basically asking Dana friendly questions was, what do you want me to do? Like, so do I trust Dana or do I trust you? I don't know if I trust either of you. I can only go on what you're saying it to me at face value in a public setting.
It's frustrating too, because obviously you very well know how much I had to face stuff like that during my career.
You were the pinnacle of that. I feel like
it's like, dude, there's a lot of value in having a solid relationship with somebody that nobody else can get a comment from, so that at least I can get something on record, because he knows that I'm not going to be combative with you. That doesn't mean I'm not going to ask you a tough question. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to bring up difficult topics.
Sure.
It just means that
you asked about Ariel being kicked out of the fucking building. I feel like people underestimate that. Like you said, so I can either be like, well, Dana, everyone here says you're not promoting the fight, and yet you still maintain you are. Why should we believe you? You're going to get told to fuck off. Or, Dana, you said you're promoting the fight, so give us a clue. Where is this fight? What's happening? How involved are you? You're going to get a better answer, or at least an answer.
Right.
And my job, in my opinion, is to go and get an answer.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean?
It's
like,
to avoid
hell.
It's to avoid the nothing response whatsoever, which is of absolute use to no one.
Which come thick and fast these days.
Wow.
You have to really dance around him these days to get a fucking response.
Listen, since you kind of dove into that world, we got to look. We're going to talk some mixed martial arts.
Yeah,
we'll
we've gone on a mad tangent.
No, but it's good. Look, man, it's fun to me. I mean, look, maybe some people are like, dude, I just came to talk about fights, but look, it's a look behind.
Why
the
aren't they
scenes.
talking about Bella Mir's mom?
You know what I mean? They may be there, but look, you're bringing up Hearn, and I don't know. I knew we were getting together, and I wasn't thinking about this morning. I mean, normally we talk about mixed martial arts, but I'll be honest with you, and again. A, I'm not in the world of boxing. I know you're a huge fan of that sport as well. B, I've obviously got a lot of things going on outside with CFFC, and it's just kind of pulled me away. But I don't know. I kind of want to get what input I could from you on, like, where Zuffa boxing stands right now, what kind of impact is being made. I know it's a broad topic, and we could talk about that for hours. And again, maybe some people don't care, but I'm kind of curious. Your personal evaluation as a boxing fan, as someone who hails from Europe, where obviously boxing has a massive population. What kind of roads are being making right now? What's happening?
First of all, I think boxing in America has actually never been worse. Like last Saturday, Teofimo Lopez boxed Rolly Romero at the T-Mobile Arena. Teofimo Lopez is considered one of the biggest stars in boxing, and I didn't hear from that fight. You know, I think actually with so we sometimes bemoan that MMA might be in a bad state. I think boxing's in a far worse state. But realistically, I also actually, to be honest with you, John, the more I watch boxing, I actually become less of a fan of it. I find it's too long and kind of too boring.
Yeah.
You know, if it's not a good fight, it's pretty tedious. So that's a bit of a shame.
I mean, it's like 45 minutes, right?
And when you realize they can't hurt each other, you're like, well, I'm here for fucking another 30 minutes. This sucks. But I think realistically, the whole sport of boxing has all these surface level arguments: who's promoting what, who's doing who. Realistically, the Saudis are running boxing,
right?
And it's going which way they are. And I think Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, and those guys can sort of complain or argue against, oh, that's not what we want this. Well, you are the ones who open the door to those guys, first of all. Secondly, the Saudis own 60% of, or Seller, who are the Saudis, own 60% of Zuffa Boxing. They also own a bit of DAZN. They also have investment in Matchroom. They have literally ownership in every parcel. Weird. So I think you can sort of complain until eventually someone's going to pull your chain, and that's the end of that conversation. Where Zuffa Boxing is, and that's another thing as well, Eddie Hearn has done very well to present himself as a stark rival to Zuffa Boxing. You can discuss whether this made business sense or not. Paramount are paying Zuffa Boxing alone, not UFC or Contender Series. Zuffa Boxing are paying them more money than Matchroom Boxing has earned in a year. You know what I mean? And that's their first TV deal. And not Matchroom Boxing, excuse me. Matchroom as a whole, including the darts, including the snooker. So Matchroom as a whole makes less money than Zuffa Boxing does from a TV deal. Now, we can discuss why Paramount decided to pay them that sort of money. We can discuss who's got friends with who. That's one thing. But these guys, and that's why I think Eddie's been so frustrated recently, is like, man, you kind of like, oh, they're not doing anything. They don't have to do anything, brother. They've already made the money. It's they're playing a different game. It's just a churning content versus trying to be big fights. And so I think the battle is kind of already won, and you guys are the ones who opened the door to Turkey. By the way, I find it very funny when they started dealing with Saudi Arabia. He was His Excellency. Haven't heard His Excellency in quite some time from Eddie and Frank Warren.
So, all right, man, so many questions about that. All right, so I know in the beginning, boxing media, and I know you obviously you got a full schedule of your own, but I know you kind of tune into boxing media a little bit. But is boxing media at all? Because it felt in the beginning it was like everybody was kind of circling the wagons and be like, bro, Zuffa has no chance. They're never going to do anything in this sport.
No, actually, I think boxing media have really declined to cover Zuffa Boxing. The only one that they did was they had a show at the Chelsea here in the Cosmopolitan. But truthfully, John, and I'll say it, the reason why you get these most of boxing media is YouTube channels. They get paid to go to these events. They get the travel covered. So I've been told that explicitly.
That changes the game a lot. We don't have to worry about, am I going to make my travel money back? Like, will I make enough off this content?
I've been told that explicitly by 3 different channels that cover these events. I'm not saying which promote, but
sure.
They get their travel covered, right?
And let's be clear. Not that that's unheard of in the mixed martial arts space, by the way.
I'm not even like,
yeah.
I'm not shitting on it. That's just a fact.
No, it's a reality. It changes the economics of
Zuffa boxing will not do that.
Right.
So therefore, you immediately lose 50% of the people who would cover you. Secondly, as we just spent an hour on, the structure of Zuffa boxing is the same as MMA, where it's a press conference thing. So for an individual channel,
tough to stand out.
They don't feel like, why would I get my value if we're all posting the same content?
Yep.
So then you lose another bunch. So actually, apart from the Zuffa Boxing Dublin show, where they had lots of local media, because boxing is very, very prevalent in Dublin and Ireland at the moment, I have not seen the staples of boxing media at any of the Zuffa Boxing shows.
That's interesting. That's it.
I remember at the very first one I saw like maybe 1 to 3 people that did crossover.
The Jai Apodaca one,
then haven't been back. They came to the first 2, I think, and then they just stopped coming.
By the way, no, it's not financially viable.
It's not financially viable.
So that's completely fair. But then I kind of want to get on Mr. Hearn and be like, well, listen, like, you're criticizing me for not asking questions. I'm not a boxing reporter. Should the criticism not fall on the boxing reporters for not coming to allegedly the new threat and not covering it properly? And there you get into the economics of the business and things like that. And this is where media doesn't become media; it becomes a business. But yes, I think it's a very, very strange. Boxing is much more toxic than MMA. MMA's weird, but it's okay,
right?
Because you're dealing with basically one entity. Because there's like 10 entities in boxing, it's much more gross and weird. And
so. The other question I had then, you talk about how the Saudis kind of have a hand in everything right now. Like, at some point, that doesn't make sense anymore, right? At some point, you've got to concentrate your assets into one effort, which I would assume would be Zuffa boxing.
Of course. And I also think as well, it's no secret Saudi public spending has been cut.
Right.
They are not seeing return. Why they thought they would, I don't know. But they're not seeing a flock of tourists flooding to Riyadh because of Live Golf.
Right.
So they're cutting spending. They are no longer trying to penetrate the world of soccer. Turkey Al-Sheikh was just about to buy Derby County, pulled out at the last minute.
Really?
Yes. So I think the public spending has also disappeared pretty intensely too. So what's more viable, spending $100 million on one fight or just having a business in Zuffa boxing that these guys are running? That's going to see us a slow return. So I think they'll probably pivot to Zuffa boxing and you won't see these big extravagant... In fact, remember when they showed on the scene, you saw these like crazy commercials for every single fight. You don't see a fucking thing anymore because they're cutting spending. So I think that's an element. And to your point, I think Zuffa boxing will become their sole interest. I also think it's not a secret, Mr. Turkey Al-Sheikh, His Excellency, as Dana would ask me to call him.
But I saw the text message right there. Make sure you refer to him.
He's dying. He has terminal.
That's not a secret.
He has a terminal illness, and he's dying. And I think he said he's got until 2029. Well, once he goes, why does Saudi have any interest in paying any fuck?
I can completely see them divesting.
I think it was his baby. Turkey I was told this years ago when they started doing Fury and Garnu. I was told he had a brain issue and he was dying, and he basically got into boxing to see the fights before he died.
Yeah,
because he's just a mad fan.
Yep.
Which is crazy, but anyway, that's what I was told, and it seems to have come to pass. Except he can't get Fury Joshua, which is the only one he ever wanted to see. But once he dies, I can see them just getting out of boxing like that. But the thing about Zuffa boxing is it's an established business with a concrete plan, which is just already self-funded, right? They're not even paying for it. Paramount are, so they'll keep in that one.
Well, like it or not, that really does go back to what Dana has always said about the sport of boxing, right? It's like, oh, well, we got the Saudis in here, and I feel like everybody just treated it like it was this never-ending supply of cash that didn't need to see a return, that wasn't being run as a business, that wasn't being run as establishing something. It was as, again, but Dana always said it. It's just like there's no structure, there's nothing established here.
Yeah, and listen, I still maintain, I just think, I still don't think boxing's all that, realistically. Like so Joshua and Fury are boxing in America, which is lame as fuck, but once they retire, which is any day, Usyk's got one more fight left.
Is that official, right? It's supposed to happen in Madison Square Garden the night before the
official.
UFC, right?
No. It's UFC's the 14th It's the Friday after.
Oh, I thought they were trying to do the same weekend, which I was like, that's wild.
They're doing the Friday after.
Got it.
But even the fact they're moving to a boxing fight from Saturday to Friday because of college football tells you how the state of the fucking sport. But once Fury, Joshua retire, Usyk and Wilder have one more fight. They're retiring. Can you name? Crawford's gone. Like Canelo, is that it? And Canelo's boxing. You know, the sport is. I just don't know the future of boxing, really.
David Benavidez is the future.
Okay, he's 30-something.
I didn't say he was there for long.
But yeah, so I just truthfully, man, like
he's 29.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, I apologize profusely, David. But yeah,
you were thinking a senior.
But I don't think
his dad's much older.
If we're talking about the pie and the equity of fan attention, MMA's had a big. All the fans that came on in COVID, a lot of them have gone away, which is fine. They've gone back to their original sports. But boxing's had a much larger shrinkage.
Just falling off.
Yeah, I just don't. But I mean, do you give a shit about any of it? We used to go cover Joshua and Fury, and now we don't because there's no money in it. It makes money. Like Mac Life used to cover Fury and Joshua.
That's true. Yeah, you were making trips for
I'd
that.
go there, and now we don't. So.
Posh boy knows something about shrinkage.
Oh man, listen, man. All right, well, listen. Let's talk about it a little bit. You brought it up kind of jokingly. I do want to bring up the Bella Mir situation because we were all there this past weekend. Obviously, it does seem like one of the biggest stories in the sport right now with the UFC in Shanghai this weekend. Although, I will say, I'm going to give a shout out to Bilal Hassan over in Shanghai. You know I'm going to work some CFFC coverage in there. Bilal Hassan, I'm hoping that he shows out. Obviously, another undefeated athlete.
But it's so funny because, like, CFFC has been crushing it. And so
you are the system, bro. You took Cage Warriors and went, fuck off. It's ours now.
We've had a good opening couple of weeks.
We were watching the Contender Series, and we knew that they were going to start off strong with Galanti. And then you had the other gentleman, Humphrey.
Can I break the foot? So I was sitting next to John. I think it was the first fight, and he was like, yeah, CFC guy. And as he was saying it, he landed a check left hook, knocked him out, and I've never seen John react like this at a fight. He went,
That's why I was surprised
you did. Full spaz. He went full spaz, grabbed my arm, and I was like, oh shit. He went, this next one's going to fucking kill him too. I was like, and then when I watched Mr. Humphrey's fight, at no point, like, they got in exchanges. The other guy was tough.
Yeah.
John was just sitting there, dude, fucking like arms crossed, like waiting. Just waiting, dude. And he just like, he looked like Trevor Whitman, just like, yeah, I knew this was coming.
But it was funny because we knew that those two guys were there, and then, but the whole night, John was like, oh, and don't forget Bella grappled for us.
Bella grappled.
Like, you were right.
You don't get to claim.
He was right. He was right in that. I know you. So it's funny. I know we're going to talk about Bella, but it was funny because CFFC has had such a killer season.
We have.
So far at the Contender Series, and it was just funny because you were like, "No, Bella's won too. Bella's won too."
We're counting her too.
And coming in as a minus
right
6,000, biggest favorite. Yeah, I know, right? Biggest favorite ever, and then to have that performance and just, I mean, the lights will get to everybody at some point and all that pressure. But man, what a crazy night! But yeah, you guys have been killing it right now.
So let me before we get to Bella, let me speak to Oscar because that was pretty funny. I didn't know how excited I would be for Galante.
It came out as soon as he just got a knockout. Bro,
I was literally like grabbing because I thought Galante was going to win, but I thought it was going to be like hard fought, maybe a submission. When he just laid him out,
it was just like mid-sentence. He's like,
Galante's
he's our guy, and then suddenly he was like, and I was
he's the real deal. But I mean, he's also he's held the belt for you guys, right?
Yep.
So I mean, like, there's definitely levels when it comes to guys that show up and can deal with the pressure. But you could also tell he's been on the mic, other stuff. He handled everything perfectly. So like, outside of Bilal, Galante's probably one of the strong. Well, Humphrey, he killed it on the mic. But I mean, out of that,
I'd love to know the viewership.
Those are some of the best.
The best it was before, just in terms of giving these guys a platform.
I would like to know that too.
I can't imagine it's as big, obviously, but the social might.
I was going to say, I bet if you asked every one of those guys what happened to their social, I think even Bilal started saying like his jumped up crazy. Like I'm sure Galante's jumped up.
Flashy eyes,
yeah. But everyone that they've picked and put on the show has all those things. Like we thought Gracio was going to be it. I mean, the way that he carried himself, and we thought he had everything. Everyone that you guys have sent over. one, I and you've talked about it before. You guys have always been embracing the fact of like CFFC. We're not trying to hold the guys. We want them to get to the next level.
Do you feel proud when they get there, or
Hell
do you
yeah.
any regret of like, we're gonna lose our guy?
No, dude, that's all. Like, that dude is so like.
It's the first question in their post
man.
fight, like just call out the UFC. He goes up there to ask him, like just call him out.
In fact, I think the first question to whoever the first guy, not Dana was like, oh, so you're a CFC guy? Like, there's so many.
Yep.
Like, yeah. It's,
that was Galante.
You've established yourself heavily as the.
I love it, man. I take what I realized at the end of my career was at the end of my media career. Not that my media.
I was about to say, I was like, you're still working.
My media career, like I'm still doing podcasts. Obviously, I'm working with Josh Thompson as well, and so I'm still like in the media space a little bit, but not like I was.
Yeah.
But what I realized at the end of it was what I really like doing was talking to the new guys, like making the ones that are coming in, make them feel comfortable, help them get a platform, help them get recognized. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh man, like, oh I got an interview with GSP. It's like, well, that's probably gonna do great numbers for you. But I've also interviewed GSP 100 times, and he's been interviewed 10,000 times.
Have you ever had this? So, John, this happened to me yesterday, and actually, Kenny, so I can't remember. I was on Instagram. I looked up MMA Junkie, and a clip of Kay Hansen came up. I think because related to odds. I think she was a mad underdog. I think she was a huge underdog, and someone won $37,000 on her or something like that.
Damn.
And I turned on the clip, and she's talking. She's like, well, it's always really nice. It's like super crazy. Someone would bet that money on me. And then it was me going, oh, does that put pressure? And I obviously have no recollection. But have you ever had that where you're like, that was me talking? I really was like, holy shit, that's fucking weird.
There's moments like where, obviously like the super necessary with Jorge Masvidal.
Unbelievable home run.
Conor McGregor questions and stuff where I'm like, I forgot I was part of that.
Yeah,
like, that was my question? Dude, I don't remember that.
Look, and it gets worse. Like, you'll be like, did you see that fight? I'm like, Costello, UFC PR Costello. I was like, I've never been to San Antonio. He was like, you and I have been to San Antonio together. And I was like, Cos, I was like, I've never been to San Antonio. And he got up Dana's post-fight press conference, and it was me asking the questions. I was like, damn, dude, I forgot a whole city.
That's funny. But to circle back to this, yes, I feel so much pride, dude. Like, honestly, awesome. And again, it's not, all we're doing is providing a platform or whatever.
Yeah, the fighters are doing the work,
doing all the work, so it's not like, but yes.
But you guys have never...
If you'd like to go refill
I think we should have a refill, right?
Yeah, if you just
but you guys have never, blocked. You've always...
Oh, hell no.
Because, say for like Bellator. There were fighters in Bellator that wanted to get to the UFC.
Yep.
Bellator is not like, yes, we want to get you to where the UFC is going to want to scoop you up. You guys have always been open about... trying to create that platform and get them there, so which is always kind of cool. But which is even awesome, that last event that you guys had, we were talking about it last week on the show. Yeah, Mick and all the guys just front and center watching the thing. So that relationship is incredible. And the fact that they're pulling people off. And then the fact now you have CFFC guys that have come on to the Contender Series, won contracts, and literally a month later are fighting in UFC events. Like, it doesn't get any better to that.
Like, you and I talked about it when Bilal Hassan won. We kind of teased Shanghai. We didn't settle on Shanghai.
Yeah, but we definitely,
but we said it as an option.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. Glad that was an option. They're going to turn Humphrey around. But no, I love it. It's funny, man. And CM Punk would obviously say the same thing to a lot of guys, but I say it to him. It's like, I love watching you fight here, but I hope I never watch you fight here again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I feel honored that I get to call your fights, but I don't want to call your fights anymore, bro. Like, I want to see you in the UFC. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I do take a lot of pride in it, man. It's what we do. And, yeah, I'll be honest with you, man. The other night,
pumped up.
I was so fired up the night after seeing both Galante and Humphrey win. Bro, I get like...
Dude,
the way that they did it, the fights, and then just to do it. It wasn't like they just went out and dominated and got unanimous decisions. They went literally and had the best performances of their life.
Dude, he slept it. Fun comment. So John, I saw John when he freaked out next to me. He had the involuntary
literally was
like electric chair shake. That's always a good one. Have you ever had one? I know because you've been more impartial than perhaps both of us. Have you ever had a moment where you really celebrated a win?
I don't know if I'm sure I've had. What usually gets me is when I see like a killer fight. When I realize I've watched something, I'll literally clap and smile or whatever, but I think I'm pretty good. If I have had those moments, I can't think that I have.
There's two
I try
kinds,
to
right?
stay. I try to stay as impartial as whatever. I'll clap at the moment.
Professional media outlet,
Yeah.
right? Like, he still is
There's
employed.
two kinds, right? There's like Amanda Nunes versus Chris Cyborg. I have no investment.
Yeah.
But when that fight ended, I was running, freaking
Yeah.
out just because you've seen something crazy.
Yeah,
fight.
and there's something to that. There's something like in
personal things where Tom knocked out Sergey Pavlovich, and maybe I'm
Yes.
gonna cry.
I mean, like, because I've seen you
tear
do
up a little bit?
Oh, bro.
When he gave the belt to his dad, I had a little cry.
Bro, there's been a couple times in the press room where I had to be like, Oscar, calm down, because they'll literally start getting so worked up over these guys. But I mean, that's natural. I mean, we've said before, like friendships. There's some people that try to go out and force friendships, and there's other friendships that just happen in this sport. I mean, it's human beings. It's going to happen. So I mean, I think if any one of us saw a friend fight, you get caught up into it, and I've had that where fighters I consider friends, but I will even then I will cheer inside. I will see me doing it. I will certainly try to root or whatever.
I would never cheer media ray.
Yeah.
I'd never react media ray. I remember the last time it came up was I was at UFC Seattle. It was Izzy versus Pfeiffer. And there was a girl there, and it was her first event, and you could see she was like, had a little notebook. I said, you have a seat cage side, like I'll take cage side. And she was like, is there anything? Always love this from new people. Is there anything I should know? Like what? And I said, she's like, I'm here covering Chiesa. Like I've really I said, if he wins or loses, you don't react and stuff like that. Like you used to keep it professional out here. When you're backstage, you can do a little fist bump. And she went, thank you so much. And then when Izzy got took down by Pfeiffer, I went, fuck, like that. And she looked at me and she went, what? I went, ignore everything I said. It was like, as soon as she got to that, I was like, God, like, so, yeah.
Hey, hey, just because I'm explaining to you what the proper behavior is does not
do
mean
as I say, not as I do.
Right, yeah. And I thought I had it unlocked. Like I was watching it, I was like, I don't know about this. And then when he got the final takedown, I was just, I couldn't hold. I was like, fuck.
Well, kudos on her. I mean, like that
she
one.
Did great.
I mean, the fact that she even asked that, like I always appreciate it when
that's the best.
The young journalists or the young people that are coming into it ask, like, so what's going on? How does this work? How does this, even an old timer just coming to the first time, how does this normally work? Tell me the flow.
Yeah.
What's going on? I don't want to be the guy that
it's funny you say
throws a monkey wrench into the system or whatever.
Because I can't remember his name. There's a gentleman who asked like questions, he's a younger guy, and we were at an event, and I heard some new guy asking him, like, so how does it work? He went, well, the veterans, Oscar Bond and Jose are going to ask. And I was like, bro.
Old guy.
I was like, damn, we're the guys. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's just, and it's a strange old game. But yes. Anyway, it's cool though to see.
It's been a journey, bro.
To see CFFC though being the funnel to Contender Series, and we were talking earlier about like.
It's got to be the number one funnel right now.
It has to, by a long shot, because you know how? Because they fucking mention it on broadcast.
Yeah.
Like, what did Michael Bisping say? I know you love the quote. Go on, bro. There you go, John.
Well, it was funny because obviously I was there live and I didn't hear it, and I went back and watched it, and I'm like, that was cool. It's like being a CFFC champion is a path to the UFC.
And it is.
Like,
dude, it is. And it's funny as well, and I haven't quite got the timing to ask Dana, but Contender Series is my favorite MMA consumption. Like Contender Series, it's so streamlined, it's so good.
The pacing's amazing.
Also, the fights are usually fucking great.
Right.
And he says about the matchmaking, I kind of want to be like, why do you keep fucking it up in the UFC then? But it's so good. But CFFC must have similar matchmaking vein, otherwise they would not keep making it up there. That's what I think.
Well, plus too, I think too, the difference of like a Contender Series as opposed to the UFC, you have fighters in the UFC, one, that are fighting not to lose. They don't want to fight somebody that's going to be below them, that's going to take their ranking down, and they're trying to hold on to a spot. The Contender Series guys, they just want a spot.
Yep.
They just want to get in the game.
Also, I think
so everybody's accepting fights, and everybody's going to give literally 110%.
We've watched enough MMA to, let's be honest, there are times I've been at a fight show and the prelim guys are fighting for their life. I haven't looked up from my phone one time. It's like you can get, but Contender Series has innate stakes. Every fight, I know the stakes. It's not just this non-ranked guy versus this non-ranked guy to fill out the card. I know the stakes of this fight. They're fighting for a contract. So you're invested off the bat.
And 5 fights. If you can't keep your attention span for 5 fights, it's tough to watch UFC.
But it's the best. It's the best content they have.
I agree.
It really is.
It's incredible. What's funny, because a friend of mine went there for the first time, and we talked about the ticket prices. The first week it was like $45. It's even cheaper now. It's like in the 30s or whatever, which is nuts. They changed the format. I don't know how it looked on TV. I guess we saw it a little bit. The kitchen used to be off to the side. Then now they extended the seats out, so you have more seats. So now they were sitting inside the octagon. But a friend of mine came, and she was like, "This was amazing." She's like, "I love how fast it's going." She's like, "The fights are incredible." And plus, she went this week and was just like, I was like, "What a good night to go," you know?
Yeah, would you agree, John? If you were, so you're helping run a MMA show, but if you were Nikisa and Jake Paul. John Paul's a Pope. Jake Paul. If you were those,
and he was also a bassist, I think, for a very famous band.
If you were those guys, starting a promotion, or if indeed Scott Coker, I feel like if I was starting a brand new promotion, I would look at Contender Series as something to emulate.
Yeah.
I would not try and be UFC B. I would try and because there's so much content. Let's just streamline everything. I think that's what they should do. Announce them as they're on their way to the ring, not in the ring. Just streamline everything. I feel like if I'm Scott Coker or those guys, I would look at this and be like, let's try and emulate Contender Series.
Keep it moving as fast as possible.
Like, listen, okay, so yes, we're charging tickets, but dude, people don't want to be there for 7 hours, man. They don't. They get them in and out in 3 hours. Fucking great night.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of variables, right? It depends on what your broadcast partner wants, how much program they really want. It depends on your venue partners. I mean, there's so many balances. But for the most part, I agree with you. Like, we are in the TikTok society. Like,
go.
Go.
Well, that's like, so the Netflix thing MVP MMA did, like, they just stalled so much. And afterwards, they asked my opinion on how I felt it went. Actually, a funny story for a second. They asked my opinion how it went, and I said I thought it was just like so much fucking bullshit. And they're like, "But we had ads. You had ads. You had to hit. Netflix had us, so you had to store." So when you hear that, you're like, "Well, I guess it is what it is." Okay. But what was funny is, I was there at MVP MMA, and I got a text from someone very high up in the UFC criticizing me for being there. Not like in a bad way, but joking like, "Oh, they pay you to cover that bullshit" kind of vibe. And then a week later, I got a text from someone very high up at MVP being like, "Oh, I see you cover them like real well." And I literally text back both of them. I was like, "Yeah, all you motherfuckers are fucking giving me shit, dude." I was like,
"Oh, it's so nice."
I'm so happy to be with John because John's the guy who relates to this the most. They all hate you.
I know.
They all hate you. Like, dude, it's so frustrating. I literally I don't want to say anyone's name, but Paramount released the White House viewing figures, right? I screenshot the press release and tweeted it out. And I got a text from someone very high up at MVP MMA, and they said, "Oh, I didn't notice, this sort of thing when Ronda's numbers were announced." I said, "I feel like we covered it." And he went, No, you didn't cover it in the same way. You put theirs out much more brief as if it's a fact." And I just replied, "Yeah, that's the difference when I'm at a laptop versus in traffic." Literally, I said, "Mate, I'm in the car." And we walked back, we had a lovely conversation, but it was a moment of like, it's like, again, similar to what I said to you earlier, like, you're reading into things that aren't there, brother. it's like, I'm driving the car to pick up the dog.
This is all I can get right now. Yeah. That's so great. So many things happen behind the scenes. People just don't even know. It's the best. Yeah. It's the best. All right, so listen, I don't want to get into drama too much of it with Bella Mir. Here's what I want to boil down to, right? Because I'll be honest.
You've known her for so long,
This situation, I'm not going to lie. The whole situation hurts me a little bit. Like, I still believe. And I guess I'll just lay my cards on the table, and then you can see if I'm crazy or you agree. I still believe that the hype and the upside around Bella Mir is very, very high. I believe the talent is there. Is there development to be had? Yes. Do I believe that losing might have been the best possible thing for her long-term career?
Yes.
I do. The rest of the stuff that everybody else is going to be focusing on hurts me a little bit. Her mom has always been incredibly nice to me. Cold Coffee and I have been at their house,
dude,
you know what I mean, doing an event.
I kind of love the mum shit. I kind of loved it. I thought it was fucking hilarious.
So, well, I mean, knowing their family and how closely that family followed Frank's career and how involved she was, I completely understand her involvement with her daughter of all things, let alone what she was like with Frank.
I was sitting with my wife yesterday. We were picking our son up from school. We had like an open house, so we were hanging out. And we were talking for a little bit, and I was explaining to her everything that happened, and I was kind of showing her what was going on, because my wife knows the family as well, too. And she literally, kind of laid everything out. And my wife just literally turned to me. She's like, she's a mom. And I'm like, it's that easy. You know what I mean? Like, bro, like everybody that's like jumping on, like, again, in the same way, Dean Thomas is my boy. And I've said publicly, Dean Thomas made a mistake in what he said. Do I think that, Bella's mom should have necessarily made some of the comments? No, but do I understand, like, where she's coming from?
To be fair, for once in this horrible, horrible space, I feel like most people are actually treating this with the, when Bella put out her statement, all the comments were like, right, now tell your mum to get off fucking social media. Like, it was all very sort of lighthearted, like, hey, your mum's having a day. Like, I thought the tone was much more understanding and accepting it, rather than just be like, this fucking bitch. I think everyone, from what I saw, and I could well be wrong, but I thought everyone was like, mum's having a moment.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I love that she was just like, alcohol and adrenaline fueled me. Like,
I mean,
we all been there.
I'll be honest.
Been there.
I mean, hey, brother, every time I get on the planes, there's a lottery risk of who's getting it. But I thought, so you're obviously very high on Bella Mir's talent. And I really want Bella Mir to be a success. But I will push back on this slightly. I think, first of all, 23 is not that young. The Scottish guy who won on Contender Series the same night was also 23. I also think she's too small for bantamweight.
Okay, so two things. First of all, I do think you're spot on about that, and I will say it did concern me, because leading into it, I had somebody ask me, "Hey, do you think she can make flyweight?" And I'm like, well, in standing next to her at the weigh-ins of the Contender Series,
she's so small,
but it did look like she was happy, right?
She's
you know what I mean?
Lean, yeah.
So I don't know. But I do agree with you. She does look small for the division. But I will say this: the only reason I would push back on Young at 23 is that she hasn't been focusing on mixed martial arts in that time, right?
I got told
the
that
Scottish kid wasn't doing collegiate wrestling,
for sure.
You know what I mean?
But then I think as well, and was her name Alex, the lady?
Yep, Alex Apodaca.
She basically said, like, she walks out. You can tell Bella was like, I've won already, And actually, John hit the nail on the head. For this girl, it's her Rocky moment. For this girl, it's her coronation. And when the two overlap, one of them fucking plummets real quicker than the other one does.
Man.
And I don't think Bella Mir plummeted at all. But what I will think I think after round one, she was like, why am I still fighting? And then I think she completely ran out of ideas.
Yep.
No, I don't, because respect to Alex, I don't think she was a significantly better fighter. I just think Bella was kind of frozen, like, well, I don't know what to do now.
Like Elsa?
That's been the MMA Road Show.
No, I agree. No, that's the thing, is that, like, look, to sit here and say, and again, I'll say that, look, my view is shaded on this. I'm a big Bella Mir fan, but I mean, I know that there's probably people that are like, done, experiment over, fraud check, of course,
yes,
which I absolutely hate.
Now, but so to that point, the odd makers did her a disservice. That's bullshit. But that's not her fault.
And we literally were literally all talking about it ahead of that, right? Like, this is insane.
That's not her fault.
Nah.
So she's statistically the biggest upset. That's not her fault. Don't consider that into your fraud check.
Agreed.
I guess is how I feel.
Yeah, no, I agree. I believe that there's still upside for her. But I honestly, truly believe that, honestly, this is the best thing for her, because she wasn't ready. It was clear that she wasn't ready.
Nice.
Bisping did nail it. I went back and watched the broadcast afterwards, talked about the deep waters. That is true. It is one reason, and I'm just being honest. Again, this is not motivated me discussing as a CFFC guy, but we do talk about it all the time at CFFC. It's like, bro, we want to get you tested. Like, you don't get tested at the UFC. Like, that's not the first time you want to face adversity.
You can't learn it on the job. Do you know, in fact, we'll bring it full circle. Anthony Joshua won the World Heavyweight title in his 17th fight, I think. He had to learn on the job as a World Heavyweight champion. You're fighting the best of the best. You can't do that. That's why you fight, some fucking random Mexican who's 0-13.
So, boxing is funny like that.
It's a crazy
It's
game.
crazy, man.
Crazy game.
It's crazy. No, I guess I just want to just throw it on that. I do believe that I'm still in the corner. I still believe that there's upside, but I really truly believe that, and not just from like some cliche point of view. Like,
but don't bring her back. Like, she has to go back on the regional.
No, I don't need to see her on Contender Series again for like 2 or 3 years.
Well, that's why I tried bringing that up today, and he's like, "Well, that's up to the team."
Yeah,
I was like, "That's not what you need to say."
That's up to her dad.
That's not what you need to say. For me, I think she's got all the talent in the world. What just happened is she was so caught up in her head. She was throwing big punches, throwing a lot of power. Never worked a jab. It was like she had never had to actually go.
The power shot was landing. That's all she had.
And I think that's the experience.
I think put the super boxing thing to rest. I didn't love the karate stance.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like she'll learn from this experience and realize that at some point you have to get creative. Like you can't, if your takedowns aren't going to work. She wasn't even setting up some of the shots that got denied. I think that's just experience and stuff that she hasn't had to. I felt like when she got to the ground, even it reminded me of watching her grappling matches. Well, if I hold this spot enough, all I have to do is one last little move, and the judge is going to say that my aggression won me that match. But that doesn't do anything in MMA, Like
Dude,
even
in
when
the third round, like in the closing minute or so, when she's there and she's holding the right ankle, or she's holding the ankle with the right hand, I'm like, let it go.
Yes.
Like at least go for the choke. We're controlling positioning.
Throw a shot, throw a punch, and she just wasn't.
That speaks to, I think, my point of where she's just out of ideas.
Yeah.
And I think she's in that moment where I'm in control. I'm safe. I'm not getting hurt. I don't know what to do. Let's just fucking chill here,
Maybe it's the difference of when you're such a multi-athlete sport. While all those disciplines are inside MMA, I think she's training so much wrestling and maybe even just like the jiu-jitsu that the MMA faltered. The striking didn't.
And also, I said to John, like, she's 23, she's 32. That's not the age gap that does your athleticism favors, right? If it's 36 versus 26.
Yep.
Okay.
And
32, she's still fine.
Yeah. And even as Alex said, it's just deep waters. I've been in deep waters. She hasn't been in deep waters. This is the first time that she got taken in deep waters, and she's going to learn. She'll learn from it, So people can't say it was fraud check or whatever. She just ran into a legit competitor that had great experience, and she's learned from it.
To John's point, I'd rather it happen now than against some fucking murderous Brazilian in the UFC where you get the fucking shit beat out of you.
Yeah. Her UFC record is still 0-0. She does not have a 0-1 UFC record. So.
And look, let's say it does take her a year. Let's say it takes it 2 years. The women's bantamweight division is not unless she's a women's flyweight, which there's an interesting thing, right? Because you are right. She looked awfully small.
Yeah.
The flyweight division is deeper. The strawweight division even deeper. So, right?
We were talking before the fight as she's walking out and stuff. We were talking about her potential at bantamweight, and then when the fight went on, I just was like, this girl is too small for bantamweight. Like,
you know what's funny? Because I think was it you or was it somebody next to me that said, once Kayla's gone, will they get rid of the women's bantamweight division? And I said, not if they have Bella Mir.
Yeah, I didn't say. I said to you, I was like, again,
not get rid of it.
Again, it'd be nice. Just before this was before she lost. I said it'd be nice if Kayla could stick around so she could at least fight the big names because there's no big names in that division. But then, dude, again, if Bella Mir had won that fight. Right, even if she controlled her in the third round and won, she shouldn't have got a contract. Someone like Macy Barber would fucking destroy Bella Mir, right? Yep. If Bella Mir had the lovely 1-2 step in and would get clipped every time, it's just she's not ready. She's just not ready. And
she's fought a fight at 145.
I know.
But that's the thing. Everyone,
that's crazy.
But with some UFC staff, she's really fucking big. She is not.
She's not that big.
She's just muscular.
She's very lean.
I think she has to be dense or something.
She's very lean, but she needs to lose.
You see those her shoulders, her arms. I mean, she's jacked.
Yeah, but
dude.
she's not thick.
She didn't look happy at weigh-ins though.
No, she did not. But that's also inexperience, man. Big cuts.
Well, that's the thing. She's gonna have to cut muscle to get down. She's gonna have to lose. She's gonna have to lose strength. And I think as a wrestler, she doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
That's I think the problem with the jiu-jitsu and the other stuff. She's got so much stuff going on. But I mean, I think the 135 can be fine. She just needs to up her skills. She's got to She's got to upgrade her
striking's got to improve
stuff.
for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, and just also, I don't know.
I think there's still upside.
Yep.
I'm not ready to ride.
Just experience.
There's also upside for Bilal Hassan this week at UFC Shanghai. I don't know if you guys are going to necessarily be up at 3. Maybe you'll still be up. I don't know if you'll wake up. But maybe
I'll wake up early for it. Maybe I'll stay up.
you're going to be out on the mountain, right?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you're going to be out in the gold.
Well, I'll bring my iPad.
Oh, this is a manly man right here, bro. It's a manly man.
You want
right
me to kill a lamb? I'll kill a lamb.
He's growing his plants over here, so he's off the grid.
Can you see?
He's like, John, while I'm up on the mountain this weekend, can you go pick up my raw meat that's being delivered to me? I butchered a couple of animals, and
I did not butcher the animals.
I got
somebody
to
else
murder a dog.
I forgot.
Bob,
I will be watching. I will still, if I can get internet up there, I will be watching. And ain't nothing else to do.
Ain't nothing else to do but if I can watch a fight.
Well, I tell you what, man.
I tell you what.
I did not sound like
this
that.
Man.
Tell you what.
This man over here is in line for his green card. Give it to him. He's American as apple pie, right?
Yeah, brother.
Pounding Bud Heavies
I know,
over there.
The Budweisers are going down over there.
Yeah, boys, we're on. This is, I think, 8 Budweisers.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I can feel the words starting to slur.
Yep. As I said, there's a timer. There's always a timer. And I think we've reached that
always a
timer.
timer.
I'm going to protect. We've gotten people fired before. We don't want to do it anymore. Let's protect the future. What you got, Kokavi?
Well, no, I was going to say, I mean, should we talk
some picks?
Just about maybe some picks on just how we think that or just even the main event. I mean, well, that co-main event's pretty cool too. I mean, just the Song Yadong, Umar and Magomedov. I mean, I think a lot of people are counting out Song Yadong.
I didn't like the fact that Umar first started off being like, "You're a punching bag," and then the next interview went, "I'm going to hold you down for 25 minutes." It's like, well, don't do that.
Yeah.
Punch the punching bag.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, but yeah, I think it's a heavy favorite in Magomedov. I mean, I think all of us respect Song Yadong, and I mean, but it's a tough matchup. And
I just can't believe they booked it. Oh, I nearly said China, man. I can't believe they booked.
I was about to say. I was like. Consider your words carefully at this point.
I just can't believe they booked him against a guy who's going to wrestle him in front of his home crowd. That's crazy.
Well, I mean,
classic.
Well, it's still kind of interesting. What I still love is that most of the Chinese fighters that are fighting on there live in the States. A lot of them have time here, and but what's awesome about it is that they're going to go over there, and the Chinese fans,
China.
The Chinese fans are going to absolutely love it. Well, even I went back and I looked. I think it's even, is it Sumadarji that's fighting out of like Sacramento, California.
China.
But still, what's awesome when it goes over to the thing is the fans still absolutely embrace them, still jump onto it, so this is one for that market, But yeah, I mean, this is a tough one, but I mean, good on Song Yadong. I mean, like I'm sure he's going to be proud walking out there, but this is a tough matchup. And I think most people. I mean, everybody's looking at him. Everybody's looking at him, and I mean, he needs to finish.
I think a 5-round decision.
He needs to finish this.
His career, man.
And no one wants to hear it. Like Islam's had a couple of rough ones where it's like control. Let's get a finish, boys.
You have to. I mean, especially if they're putting you in a spot to showcase and say why you're at the top of the division and why you should have a title shot. I mean, so you got to do something about it. But on the flip side, if Song goes out there and pulls something off, he's clearly saying, "Hey guys, I'm legit."
Yep.
Here in contendership.
It's crazy with that record he is, how young he still is, man. So there's still upside there.
What about Yan Jinan? I think she's still very, very talented. I think a lot of people maybe, don't think that she's going to be able at the top of the division. I don't know if she'll ever be a champ, but she's certainly one of the best fighters. And I think Denise
never cared
Jones,
about anything less.
Well, I mean, to be fair, a lot of people are like that when it comes to to women's MMA, but I think this is a fun fight that can be exciting. And I think the co-main event is a good spot. Obviously, you want to have the Chinese tied to it, but they easily could have went at Ricci Lane, Kaya Sakura. Yep. But I love that they went with the women on this and the co-main event because I think it's going to be a fun fight.
It's going to be a good fight.
And I think the Chinese fans are going to absolutely eat it up.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get up at midnight at 6 a.m., but I will watch the replay. I'm just going to catch it.
But replays suck on Paramount.
I don't know,
because it's just the highlight shit.
You know what, man? I will say, I went home the other night after watching the, even the Contender Series the other night. Like, I know the UFC thing is a pain in the ass. I went home the other night, obviously hyped up, excited. I was like, bro, just watch my guys.
It's so annoying.
I wanted to watch Contender Series. You can't even watch Contender Series back.
It's scary shit.
I'm telling you.
It's a TV show. Like, you can't watch back a TV.
And there's no music. That's the whole thing is meant to be rights. There's no music for them to be conflicted with.
Yeah.
The whole reason they can't do the walkouts for years. Dude, when I realized how bad it was when I went to watch the UFC White House and they cut the walkouts, I was like,
that was part of the thing.
That was actually part of the. Well, yeah, it wasn't even like the real songs. It was somebody playing the songs.
But watching Justin Gaethje not being able to read the Constitution is part of this fight. when he was like, dude.
That was pretty funny.
All the time I remember like him just staring at it. They go, "What were you thinking?" He went, "I was just thinking how many funny words they had." I was like, "That's my boy, baby."
I told you, bro. This guy's American as hell. Give him his green card.
Yeah.
Give him his green card. All right, listen. Cold Coffee's got to get off to the mountain. The rest of us, I think we're going to continue these beverages for as long as until the timer runs out on this guy. So we're going to enjoy our afternoon, enjoy the weekend, and thanks for listening.